this storm isn't going to be anything. Like, we're going to stay here. We were like, you probably shouldn't do that. Like, please reconsider. It's already flooded. I'm sure you guys have POI, but we're coming for you later this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, over the weekend, of course. Yeah, and then what's the biggest thing?
That's what I was going to say. The tricky thing too is like all the way through Thursday. So imagine y'all may not even be able to get to it Friday. Yeah, it's not your guys' fault. It's just these winds are going to be crazy for like pretty much a couple of days.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming back yet, but, for
Your line workers.
the real, yeah.
Check 1, 2, 3. Check, check.
They got families on them too. I know even first responders barricade themselves this way. When we're in like city front gate, it's like if it's 45, we still have to shelter. So if something happens, you're own to the home, please. It's tough.
Will you do me a favor and just call the it's 391-1671, just in case they need to get a hold of you or something. Should be good.
So our station's over in the south side, so we could take like even.
Oh, hey, David. I didn't even see you come in. How's it going? The one it's kind of like
Friendly reminder, please silence your cell phones. Thank you.
You starting on time, Charles?
Hell yeah! I always start on time?
Always.
You do.
Always.
Most trustworthy timekeeper.
Or whenever Verizon says it's 12:05.
You gotta pick something. You gotta pick something, that's what I gotta say. I'll give you guys a 2-minute warning now.
I'm still fascinated with this part. I
I don't think I've ever seen that before. Where one sign to another and then back. I'm saying I've never seen that before.
No, he was saying like.
I'm like fascinated how you guys do that.
Talk back.
Or there is a reason. Perfect road. Great. Big. Oh, I love that. That's all I want to do. Have like firefighters and all that great stuff. Well, that's true. You can live on Pop-Tarts and Gatorade for at least a week.
Yeah, I do.
It's a moving fact.
Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. We are continuing to prepare here in Jacksonville for what we continue to be under right now, which is a tropical storm warning and storm surge warning, as well as a hurricane watch and a flood watch. Tropical storm winds may start this evening. Our heaviest winds are expected tonight through Thursday morning. We're thinking if you want to focus on a worst possible time frame, what are our worst conditions going to be? Probably 11 to 11, midnight to 12, something like that. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Beaches and intracoastal, 30 to 50 mile per hour winds with occasional gusts of 50 to 60. High profile buildings, 40 to 60 miles per hour with gusts of 60 to 70, and inland areas, 25 to 40 miles per hour with occasional gusts of 40 to 50. We are expecting rainfall. This is better news. We're expecting rainfall of 1 to 4 inches with locally higher amounts, maybe a little bit more at the beaches, but that's really what we're looking at, which is much better, if you remember, than our projections a few days ago. So we're grateful for that, because that was an area of big concern for us when it came to flooding. We are also anticipating 2 to 4 feet of storm surge at the beaches along the intracoastal near Butler Boulevard, and in flood-prone areas along the St. Johns River, Ortega, Riverside, San Marco, Southampton, St. Nicholas, as well as the Ribault, Trout, and Moncrief waterways. All the regular suspects are going to have some issues with surge. But again, there may be some isolated areas that get a little above that, but we're feeling good about that 2 to 4 feet probably being as bad as it's going to get in most places. All right, you can expect river flooding at the height of the storm and at peak tides after the worst of the storm has passed, in particular Thursday and Friday afternoon. But we will see tidal flooding at high tides going into the weekend and next week. And when I talk about that, I'm really talking about water in the roads. So be very, very careful about where you're driving. We've been reminding you over and over again, as often as we can, please don't drive through waters that you can't tell how deep they are. You can get yourself into trouble that way. But we're not talking about the type of flooding going into the foreseeable future that's going to get into buildings or into homes. That's not what we're looking at. Another reminder that there are life-threatening water conditions at the beach. I was out there this morning, and what we're seeing this morning is obviously the effects of that front that's coming in that's going to help push our storm out. But that's already causing some treacherous wave conditions out there. So don't even think about it. Don't go out in the water. There's nobody out there. There's no lifeguards to save you, and we're not going to send anybody into harm's way to do that. So please just don't go in the water. New updates for you. Let's see. Our 6 city managed shelters opened at 8 a.m. this morning. We currently have 372 people sheltering in those, with another 8 special needs, so 380 in total. We're going to be managing and watching those population levels closely throughout the day, because we have some people who are evacuating up here, coming from South and Central Florida, who are coming up here to Jacksonville. So if at any point those shelters at any of those locations get above 75%, we have another shelter that is available to open in that general area of wherever that shelter that's filled is, should we need it. So we'll monitor that. If those levels get there, then we'll look at opening up to 5 additional shelters, and we have the ability to do more if we need to. So we want to make sure that anybody who's trying to get out of harm's way has a place here in Jacksonville. Our first responder safety briefing was held earlier this morning. Our emergency road access teams, Swiftwater Rescue, and urban search and rescue teams are out staging, and they're getting ready to go right now. So we are so grateful to them for all the work they do. It's going to be a couple of very long days for them, and some even more, because they'll be headed out to help others that get more hard hit by these storms. So we're truly, truly grateful for these teams. It's just always such dangerous work when you're dealing with water, and there's going to be a lot of water when it comes to this storm, especially down in the central Florida area. Electricity, tangled trees, and all that. These teams speak to the collaboration between our partner agencies. I've got to say, it's what I'm always so impressed with every time we have a meeting and we hear what everybody is doing. I wish all of you had the ability to see behind the scenes how much coordination there is in this city, and how much effort goes into that coordination, from JFRD to JSO, JEA, Public Works, JTA. I mean, the coordination is spectacular, and it makes us able to help keep people safe, and we really appreciate that. JSO has 34 officers on the streets for storm duty. There'll be another 60 officers on duty tonight as Jacksonville starts to really feel those storm impacts. They'll be patrolling roadways, hotels, gas stations, and the parking garages that we have open. And we're really grateful for that support. The Florida Highway Patrol has been clearing abandoned vehicles. I know we got a question about the roadways yesterday because we've got so many people evacuating. There are going to be people who are breaking down on the highway and fender benders and all that. So the Florida Highway Patrol has been clearing abandoned vehicles and other issues, and making sure our highways are clear as there are, again, evacuees from some of those other counties coming up. We ask you again, though, to please stay off the interstates if at all possible, so that evacuees can get to where they're going, and our first responders can get set up for the storm. It's so very important that if you don't have to be on the roadways today, just don't. Go ahead and stay home. I know most of you have that opportunity, or at least I hope most of you have that opportunity. I received a question yesterday about the construction cranes downtown where the Four Seasons is going up. They are currently tied down. That's what they do with those during a storm. They tie them down, and the winds that we receive would have to be much higher for those to be an issue in terms of collapse. So we feel good. We feel good about that, and thank you for that question. We're proud to report that JEA was able to secure some more contract line crews. They now have 59 contract line crews. That's 223 additional people to support all of our 24 JEA line crews that will be out repairing power lines when it is safe to do so. So that actually puts us, we started this process at a big deficit because so many line crews are spread out in other areas of Florida, in South and North Carolina, and places that were hard hit by the previous storm. But now we have 118% of the contract crew levels we had during Helene, and when we had 50 crews. So kudos to JEA for that hard work of getting those crews all together. JEA also has 10 contract line crews working with our emergency road access teams that will be keeping roadways clear for first responders. And they have vegetation crews out clearing trees away from power lines, which will be another important, hopefully will help us to avoid losing some power. JEA crews will be working tonight until it's no longer safe, and they consider no longer safe after wind speeds get above 30 miles per hour. Then they'll have to stand down until the winds drop a bit. Then crews will start from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. shifts tomorrow. Night crews will work from 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. Water and wastewater may be affected due to power outages and rainfall. JEA will be monitoring constantly and deploying portable pumps and generators. Again, please be patient as they work to safely get everything back in order. It's really a big effort, and they're going to be working as hard as they can and as safely as they can. JTA has been hard at work as well. In addition to providing free rides to shelters, they have transported more than 140 people and another 11 people with special medical needs. They've also provided 6 buses to move our contract line crews for JEA. So again, you've got that coordination going between our agencies. Flood detours for JEA service will be announced today, depending on our weather conditions. Spot detours will be implemented for any debris in the roadways, and service will be suspended when and if sustained winds hit 35 miles per hour. Public Works has 20 extra crews right now out picking up yard waste. The beaches are doing the very same thing. So we are doing our very best to get as much yard waste up and out before this storm gets here. But please be patient and do not please put anything more on the curb today that does not have to be there until after this storm passes. We'll do our best to get to it as quickly as we can, but if you've got something that's sitting out and we don't get to it by the time we're getting into the darkness of night, try to get it close to the house or someplace where it won't fly around. The mowing and landscaping teams are also out taking care of hazard tree tickets, and additional teams are doing final cleanup of ditches, drainage and inlets. So again, just very proud of the collaboration and partnership we have across the city with our partners. We really get better and better with each one of these storms, which in some ways, as much as we have had issues, and we have had issues, but they really have been dress rehearsals for us for the day that we are in a situation like the folks in the central area in Tampa are in right now, and we're going to be ready. We are ready, and we're going to be ready when that day, hopefully not for a long time, ever comes. In that spirit of collaboration, this next update will make you feel good. So last night, under City Council President Randy White's leadership, the council voted to provide $150,000 to our local Red Cross, and they were matched with another $50,000 from Jacksport, $50,000 from JEA, and $50,000 from JTA. So a total of $300,000 is going toward the Red Cross storm response, and that is thanks to the City Council and our partners for their compassion and for setting an example. So really, our local Red Cross desperately needs that money, and we very much appreciate that. Just to get through some things that you may already know, but I want to make sure that we emphasize, no evacuation orders for Duval County. While some of our neighboring counties have issued evacuation orders, Duval County has not. We are, again, asking for folks who are in a trailer or older home in a low-lying area, in an area with heavy tree canopies, just find a place to get away from those for a little while, even if it's at a friend's house that's a few miles down the road, or use one of our shelters. But when these winds come up, we just want to make sure that you're safe, the winds and waters. Once again, our shelters, we have 6 that are open right now. Atlantic Coast High School, Chaffee Trail Elementary, the Legend Center, Landmark Middle School, La Villa School of the Arts, and Arlington Middle School. Those are the shelters we currently have open. JTA will be providing free transportation to those shelters, and they started that this morning at 8 a.m. If you have any special medical needs or special need transport to a shelter, please call 630-CITY, and we can set that up for you. That's 630-2489. American Sign Language interpreters will be at Atlantic Coast High School and at the Legend Center. If you're going to one of the shelters, you're going to need to bring your own snacks and bedding if you decide to go to a shelter, along with your ID, medications, and personal care items if you have pets. Each family is authorized to bring up to 3 pets, which includes dogs, cats, ferrets, and pocket pets like hamsters and gerbils. As we said yesterday, no reptiles, please. Visit jacksready.com/Milton to get more information about what you should bring with you for your family and for your pets. And this is another piece of information. If you are leaving the area and you have your pets with you, this is true for Jacksonville too, but our hotels are pretty filled up right now. Many of the hotels are relaxing their pet policies so that you can bring your pets with you to hotels. So if you have to go outside of the area, you will be able to very likely bring your pets with you to those hotels because they're relaxing those policies so you can do so. Let's see. We talked yesterday about Ken Knight Drive, very likely to flood. JTA is providing shuttles for those folks over to the Legend Center, and we'll inform you if there are any interruptions there. St. John's River Ferry is now closed through October the 10th, and the Skyway is closed and will open on the 10th as well. So JTA will communicate any service interruptions through their website, social media channels, or the MyJTA app, along with obviously our Jack's Ready app, which updates everything all the time. So, on that front, on the Jack's Ready app, I want to let you know that we have a new dashboard that's going to go live on Jack's Ready. We've got a series of dashboards to try to increase transparency around the city. And we've added a one for Jack's Ready just so you can see the usage there. And we already have tremendously greater usage for this one. I think double the usage that we had during Helene. So people are paying attention, and they are going to that app, to that website to find out information. We appreciate that very much, that our citizens are taking advantage of that. Let's see. At the airport, it is still open. A small number of cancellations have been reported, but again, you're going to have to check with your particular airline to see if your flight's canceled. The airport will remain open unless all flights are canceled, and at that point, the airport would close. But right now, they are open for business. If you have tickets to an upcoming event, please check with the venue to find out if that's still taking place. And I want to remind you one more time about the parking garages. This is the first time we've done this. We're opening our city parking garages free of charge through Friday if you're worried about your car getting water damage. So Water Street Garage, Ed Ball Building, and the Yates Building, and the Duval Street Garage all open, and JTA again will open the King Street, or has already opened the King Street, or the Kings Avenue Garage for free too. For the first time ever, we have tiger dams that are being set up to help with the storm surge at the beaches. Those are not there yet. There was some confusion about that yesterday, but what we understand is, and I think I have a list here. The tiger dams that are set up right now, we have tiger dams installed at Landon Park Lift Station. That's just north of San Marco Boulevard. Children's Way Lift Station. Fire Station 11 on Talleyrand, Fire Station 13 at 1411 Atlantic Boulevard, and Fire Station 23 at 5323 Ortega Boulevard. So what we're still waiting for, and we are told they are en route now. They don't take but a few minutes to set up, so this is not going to be a problem. The state says they are en route to setting up the ones at Atlantic Boulevard. These are all things the state is setting up. One Atlantic Boulevard, 20 Seagate Avenue, and one Ahern Street. Those are all en route to being set up right now. The state says that they've given out as many of those as they have. They've gotten so many requests with such a wide swath of area affected, so we won't be able to set any more up beyond the ones that I just mentioned. Again, want to mention about garbage and recycling. That's going to be Thursdays will be rescheduled to Saturday because we will not have crews out Thursday. Friday collection for garbage and recycling is anticipated to occur as normal. Yard waste and debris collections will resume in an ongoing manner on Friday until all debris is removed from both Helene and Milton. So I think that is just about it. We have at 630 City, I want to let you know that we have also tried something else new this time. We have representatives embedded there from JSO, JFRD, and JTA to make sure that we can accommodate those issues very quickly if there are things that people need to know or need to be handled by those agencies. They're going to be embedded there at 630 City. They're now 24 hours through the rest of the storm. And as always, you can go to jacksready.com/Milton for more information on all of this. I know that was a lot of information. What we're going to do today is we're going to just go ahead and take questions. If you have questions for me, if you have questions for any of our folks back here, if you have questions for Al at the National Weather Service, you can ask, but we're just going to go straight to questions. And we, by the way, we'll meet back here again at 6:20 tonight. Yes.
So for clarification, as people are getting ready, is it illegal to take sand from the beaches to use for sandbags?
I don't believe that is legal.
Mayor, during Helene, we saw a lot of people wanting to come out and watch at like a memorial park along the riverbank. What is your message to people who might want to come out and watch things deteriorate during Milton?
Look, I feel like a bit of a hypocrite given that I spent 30 years of my life sitting out, in the middle of hurricanes telling people, but that was my job. But I think if it's not your job, and I know it's a lot of your jobs, if it's not your job, please don't do it, because it puts you in a situation where we may have to come out and help you if a tree falls on you or if something else happens to you in that storm. So I would be greatly appreciative for everybody if you would please just stay home once conditions start to deteriorate here. Most of this is going to be hitting us overnight and into the morning, so stay home. I know it's a fascination, But the truth is, how many times do we hear that we run into problems like that? When somebody, you don't know when a tree limb's gonna fall. You know, you don't know when you're gonna slip and fall in water, or whatever the situation is. And we certainly don't need you out in the water at the beaches, because that's just a hazardous, horrible situation right now. So please, do stay home, and I appreciate the question. I think that sometimes that we've had it really in a relative sense here so good for so long when it comes to these things. We absolutely have some inconveniences. We have some power outages that can take a while. We have some flood damage occasionally. We certainly have some things that need to be repaired. But there are people in other parts of this state whose lives are going to be changed forever if they're fortunate enough to live through this storm. And I want people to recognize that, you know, let's be grateful for what we have and try to make the jobs of our first responders as easy as we possibly can, because they're already tired. They've been working 24/7 pretty much since Helene. And not, if they're not working here, they've been working where the storm damage is worse. So respect those folks, give them some love, and stay home.
I was wondering if JFRD or JSO could talk about also any plans for mutual aid of sending folks over to Tampa or Orlando to help out.
Yeah, so we have 12 ERAT teams that are staged up, in addition to the 6 that are here locally, that are going to be deployed into the Central and South Florida areas. Those comprise of JFRD folks, it comprises of 24 JSO officers, and it comprises of line crews that'll be going with them, and they will be deploying very shortly. We have just received a phone call to get ready for that, so they'll be heading south before the storm to assist our neighbors to the south. You know, the mayor talks about all the time about how fortunate we are and how we should help our neighbors, because maybe one day we're going to be the ones needing help. So I just ask that you pray for our men and women. That is extremely, as she mentioned, it's extremely dangerous work they're doing. But they are chomping at the bit to go and help, as they always are.
And also, Mayor, I was wondering, with the Jags obviously in London this weekend, did you have plans to travel to London, and how has this modified those plans?
Well, I do have plans to travel to London this weekend, and I'm hopeful that we'll get through this and I'll be able to keep those plans, but we won't know exactly what situation we're in until after the storm passes.
Mayor, that $300,000 total going to the Red Cross storm response, can you break down how it started with City Council, and what was the matching? I didn't get all the numbers.
Okay, well, it started with Council President White, because if you know anything about Council President White, it always starts with how he can help other people. And he had it on his heart that he has had many conversations with the local Red Cross, and found out they were stretched and really needed the help. And so he went to council and said, I'd like to take $150,000 from the council contingency and give it to the Red Cross. And then he called some of the other agencies to see if they were interested in jumping in. And so JTA did, JEA did, Jacksport did. And so that's how we ended up with $50,000 from each of those organizations, and overall $300,000. But let me just say, it doesn't have to stop there. Anybody else who wants to give to our local Red Cross, we would be grateful for that, and any other entity or agency that wants to do that, we'd be grateful if you do, because those folks work so very hard in this situation, you know, not only here but elsewhere, and any resources we can give them is very helpful.
I was also wondering if JSO or JFRD could kind of speak to, obviously in the aftermath of the storm, if somebody has a tree in their house, or they have down power lines, or flooding in their neighborhood, how does the list of priority come? When they have so many calls at once, only so many people, how do they kind of work through that list of which to respond to first?
Well, I can tell you that is, and I'm happy to have somebody up if you want to talk about this, but it comes with where are our life-threatening or threatening situations. I mean, that's really what is handled first. If you have something that's blocking traffic, if you have something that's causing a live wire to be out there that's going to hurt somebody, you take the most urgent cases first. But we do encourage people, you know, if they do have an incident, to let us know, and then we'll assess that situation and get out to them as quickly as we can. But that's how you do it. You just take the most urgent cases first. Yes.
Mayor, on top of a storm surge, river flooding, tidal flooding, and whatnot, should homeowners also expect power outages?
Well, anytime that we have a lot of wind, we have so many trees here, anytime we have a lot of wind, we're going to have power outages. I'm actually really grateful that we're not talking about the type of rainfall that we were looking at earlier in the week, when we were thinking that we could get up to, you know, 10 to 12 or more inches of rain, which would have really caused a lot more problems with that. But I will say, anytime you have tropical storm force winds and potentially hurricane force gusts, you're going to have trees come down and you're going to have power outages. And because we have a saturated ground, that also causes trees to come down with a little bit of wind. And when trees come down, roots come up and they bring with them lines that are water lines and other things. So it's always going to be an issue when we have conditions of wind and water. So yes, we should expect power outages, and again, I ask for your patience on that front, yes.
Regarding the tiger dams, how sustainable and durable are they? Like, we're gonna have a lot of flying debris. There's a lot of flying debris that's gonna be flying through the air and across the shore. How sustainable?
You've got to remember, they're built for storms. You know, they're built for storms. So from what I am told, they have been a wonderful, wonderful asset, that they are very sturdy, that it's very tough to get over them, and they've been performing very well in other storm conditions that we've seen. So we'll see. We haven't used them widespread here yet, and we'll see today and tomorrow how they do. But from what I understand, they're very sturdy.
Mayor, can you talk about homeless? I know we have a new initiative started October 1st and all the programs that are going with that, but anything else extra for this event, this cycle?
Well, we have shelters open specifically that are in place to accommodate folks from our homeless population. And I think we said City Rescue Mission has also opened, is it City Rescue Mission? Yeah. Okay, City Rescue Mission opened their doors for the storm as well. So that and La Villa tend to be areas where a lot of our homeless do have the opportunity to gather.
Is there any, like JTA, just kind of seeing if they can, anybody wants a ride to go somewhere, those kind of things?
I
Like,
believe
that's part of your plan though, right?
JTA has already given a number of folks that are houseless rides to shelters.
And I was also wondering, I know we obviously spoke about line workers. Once it hits 35 miles per hour, that's that threshold where
30.
they need to,
Yes, 30,
for their own safety. What about first responders like JSO and JFRD? What's that threshold to where they'll have to shelter and some patience is needed from folks?
I'm gonna have to let y'all answer that one.
It's the same for both of us, pretty much. You know, when the winds get 45 miles an hour sustained or greater, we have to start looking at first responder safety because of the vehicles are traveling in, getting blown off the road or something getting blown on them. So we kind of work in partnership with that, determining when it's safe to have them out there and when it's not. But kind of 45 miles an hour sustained is kind of where we start really taking a strong look at it.
For JEA, part of the service territory goes into St. Johns County. Is there any sense that that side of JEA's service territory is going to bear the brunt of the wind damage as it's closest to the path of the storm, or does it really make that much of a difference?
Thanks for the question. We don't have that many electric customers in St. Johns County. We mostly have water customers there, but it will be the same level of service. Absolutely.
Chief just reminded me too that I just want to emphasize that if you have a non-emergency situation, please call 630 City. Save 911 for the true emergencies. If you have a question, obviously, you know, if you're concerned about it being an emergency, you're free to call 911. But if it's not an emergency and you know that you're just needing to report something, call 630 City so we don't clog up those emergency lines. Anybody else? Yes.
As far as financial support, beyond state and local support, or beyond state support, FEMA, what financial support can you offer citizens of Jacksonville, Duval County?
Well, I don't know at this point what that would be. I mean, obviously people have insurance. There are other programs through FEMA and those types of things, but I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to.
A lot of people that,
You want to talk to this, Andre?
So we, Andre, Director of Emergency Preparedness Division, Duval County. So I think what you're referring to is we got public assistance and then individual assistance. So post-storm, there's a threshold you have to meet. We will get that information, and once we meet that threshold, we will push that out through our Jax Ready app. And we're doing it for Helene and Adelia and Debbie. So it works well, and we've been doing that for many years.
I think what I'm getting at also is that beyond COVID, y'all have the program that y'all offer the city financial assistance. And are we going to see anything like that here?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to find that out for you. Anybody else? Okay. Everybody, thank you so much for being here today, and we'll see you again at 6:05.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.